We're really excited. I mean, first of all, to win region on our own field was really cool, and to head out to Tempe to be in the Super Regionals. Every team at Kentucky, our goal is to win the national championship. To be in Supers is special in the sport of softball, and our ultimate goal is to go to the World Series. So this is a good week in our in Kentucky softball.
How tough a challenge, though, Arizona State?
Oh, they're a very tough challenge. They have an outstanding pitcher. They're one of the best offenses in the country, and they play solid defense. So, any team that comes out of this is going to be a very good team. It's going to be a challenge, but, this is why we play this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
How does the competition from them compare to what you had this past weekend?
Oh, I think they're going to be dramatically better. I think that they do everything so well. I think Dallas Escobedo is one of the best pitchers in the country. She throws hard, but it has tremendous spin. So I think that's a little bit different. And then offensively, they hit a ton of home runs, and I don't think very many home runs were hit this past weekend. So I think it's going to be completely different. You're taking that next step up, but that's what you expect when you go to Supers.
With all your freshmen, how much did it help your confidence doing what you did after dropping so quickly in the Southeastern Conference tournament?
Oh, I think it was huge. I think, I still think we were a little bit tight in regionals, and I think that every step that we're taking is helping them really, the experience that they're gaining is really helping them understand what they need to do to go to the World Series. So I think regionals was a big step for us because I think we were pretty tight on Saturday.
They handled you all pretty easily earlier in the season. I know you're older and better now. Is that going to be a factor, if at all?
No, I don't think it's a factor. First of all, everyone knows that kids in today's day and age have a very short memory, so that's going to play in our favor. And also, we're a completely different team now than we were then, and we've played a number of top 25, top 10 teams. So I think we won't be as starstruck as we were in the beginning of February.
How are you all a different team?
What's that?
How are you all a different team?
First of all, we're starting 5 freshmen, and that was their first weekend out. So they've had, they've not only had 56 games under their belt, but they've also had them in the SEC and also against a lot of Pac-12 teams. And Arizona State was one of the first teams that we played. So they didn't really understand the speed of the game when they first played it against Arizona State, who plays it very, very fast. So their expectation level is completely different, and how fast we play is completely different.
Talk about your top 2 pitchers and how the older one supports the younger one and their relationship and how it's really worked well for you all.
Yeah, lately we've been going with Lauren Cumbus and Kelsey Nunley. Nunley's gotten the bulk of our wins and the bulk of our innings. And the great thing is Lauren Cumbus, who also plays first base and is one of our best hitters, but is also a team captain. She's out there, and you always see during our games, you'll see her talking to Nunley. And she's not only encouraging her, saying, let's go, but she's also talking strategy. And just they're really figuring out how to win and how to beat the batters. So it's kind of like having another coach on the field for us.
Speaking of which, could you talk about Griffin Joyner and the tournament she's having and just having her out there with a year behind her and behind the plate handling pitchers?
Joyner's done really well. Even in regionals where her average wasn't as high as it has been all season, she is outstanding. She was hitting the ball hard and it was solid. So she was doing a great job offensively. And then defensively, what I asked her to do is difficult. And the fact that she was good as a freshman, but now she's so much better. She's seasoned. She doesn't miss a pitch. She does a great job handling the battery, and she does a nice job calming our team down. So, Griffin's actually a huge asset to us moving forward.
She bats second, right, in the order. What does that mean, batting second? What do you want from a second-place hitter?
Well, it means that we don't have as much speed on my team as I would like. Normally, Griffin would bat 3rd or 4th, but what she does do is she has a high average. If Cara Dill gets on, or if Silver Samuel gets on, who's in the 9 spot, as we turn the lineup over, she's a good RBI hitter as well. But she's good about getting on base, and if that happens, we can put someone in to run for. But more than anything, you just want somebody really good at the top of the order who gives you a chance to win, because the order turns over. If it turns over that 4th time, you want to have another batter up there.
Are there any lessons you take from the Super Regional 2 years ago into this weekend?
Not me personally, yes. As a coach, I'm prepared. We're prepared completely differently than we were 2 years ago in terms of our pitch selection, all that. But that started in the fall. But for our team, only a couple of these players were on that team, and only a couple of starters. So they're able to take the experience and they're able to talk about it. But a lot of our players, there'll be 5 freshmen on the field, so this is their first Supers.
You lost Cara Dill early in the year. She was having a huge season. And then your infield had to settle in without her. Now you've got her back. What kind of a bonus is that?
Oh, it's a huge bonus because when she was gone, a lot of people had to step up that I think were, before that, they were kind of taking a back seat because they were freshmen. Well, they were forced to put themselves into a leadership role and a production role. And they were producing in the 7 weeks that we didn't have her. Now that we have her back and we're able to put her at the top of the order, those young people who stepped up, they're continuing to produce at a high level. So actually, where losing Kara wasn't great, the fact that other people have stepped up like Silver and Christian Stokes has really helped our team move on.
For those of us that aren't as familiar with softball as we should be, in a 2 out of 3 thing, is it are you wanting one pitcher to sort of ride that pitcher, win or lose, or how does that work?
Usually in softball's changing now. I would have said in the past, absolutely, you would use one. I still think that we're at that place right now. I do think in the future that's going to change, that every team will have 2. But I believe that both of these teams will ride heavily on their starters. I think we'll rely heavily on Nunley for, as long as she can go, and I believe they'll ride heavily on Dallas. So I think in this particular Supers, I believe that you'll see predominantly just 2 pitchers.
In basketball, if you're a freshman, they talk about a wall you hit and so on. And Nunley's a freshman. How is she holding up mentally, physically, and in any other way with the load she's in?
Oh, she's doing great. And the one thing that I keep aware of is that softball, it's one of those sports that they are here for the entire school year. They don't have a summer break. They don't have breaks like that. So I'm very aware of that going on. So what you'll see is you'll see in the middle of the year she starts getting some rest during some games in SEC play when we've already won a series and things like that. There might be games that she could have pitched that we opted not to pitch her, or certain innings that we pulled her out. So, she's gotten her breaks. She just didn't get them at the typical time where people do it right before postseason. So we've been aware of that all year, and she's going to be fine.
Anything else?
One other thing about Silver, you bat her 9th, right? Is there do you have to do a sales job to say, even though you're batting quote unquote last in the order, it doesn't mean what you may think it means?
Well, in softball, you don't really have to do a sell job to them, because softball a little bit different from baseball. Everyone knows that actually your 8, 9, and 1 hitters are pretty good. So the reason she's at 9 is at the beginning of the year her average was really low. But you put somebody who's really fast at 9 because your 1 is fast too, and they're both slappers. So in softball, 9 is actually not a bad thing. It's actually a pretty good thing till they earn their way to 2. And then 8 is also a pretty good hitter. Usually in softball, that one of your weakest producers is actually 7th in the lineup. So it's a little bit different.